Yo, what's up, brother? Doc Testosterone here. Is meat bad for you? Kinobody versus vegan gains. Let's get to it. Now, first of all, I am very happy to make this video. I'm actually very excited and have goosebumps right now. I'm not gonna get into all the scandalous YouTube shenanigans and political shit. Let's get right to who is right and who is wrong, and what does the actual science say about the benefits and harms of eating meat and the ingredients inside meat that actually either harm you or benefit you. Now, I am not gonna discuss the ethical side of things, okay? This is a disclaimer. I am not an ethics major or some ethical expert, so I'm not gonna say if it's some sentient beings should be killed or treated in a bad way. That's not my expertise. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm also not gonna talk about the ecological, the environmental, sustainability problems because, again, I am not some environmental science expert. I am an expert on neuroscience, I'm an expert on biology, and I'm an expert on testosterone. So I'm gonna talk about the health aspects of meat eating and tell you why this fucking bullshitter vegan gains is completely wrong in what he educates his viewers on YouTube. Let's get started. Now, all of the studies, first of all, this motherfucker always tries to pretend like he knows what he's talking about when he talks about the science. In my previous videos, when I attacked this asshole and challenged him to a debate, first link is here when I called him a fucking retard. The next link is here where I apologized to him and then ripped his ass apart. Go watch these two videos if you haven't done so yet. But the first thing that you need to realize is that these studies that he's quoting in his video of Kinobody versus vegan gains, these studies are done in such a bullshit manner. Let me tell you how they've done. Now, I'm sure you haven't even read most of those studies. Go and read those fucking studies. You know what they do in these studies that he's quoted? They ask people like a survey on, hey, let me do it to you right now. Hey, John, what did you eat last week? What were you eating this last year? They verbally ask these morons what they ate, and then they write that down, and then they publish this shitty research, okay? Now, that's just the first layer of what's wrong with these studies. The second layer is that the people who are eating meat, who have these associations with cardiovascular disease, with cancer, with diabetes, these people also have a fucking retarded life, okay? They are not exercising. The meat they're eating is conventional meat. It's not grass-fed organic meat. It's the shitty meat from Walmart, okay? They are also eating a lot of carbohydrates. They are also not getting enough omega-3 fats. They are also drinking alcohol. They are also not sleeping well. So this is a typical person who eats meat, also has this fucking idiotic lifestyle. On the other hand, people who are vegan tend to have a more healthy lifestyle. Think about it. Someone who goes vegan in today's society is health conscious, okay? Because of that, they're gonna live a healthier lifestyle. Vegans tend to also exercise more. Okay, they tend to also have better habits. They have a better lifestyle. Hence, if you're comparing this asshole fat fuck from Alabama living with his fat fuck wife, who is a meat eater farmer guy, who is also never exercising, also drinking, also smoking, and you compare him to a vegan, of course the vegan is gonna have a lower chance of cardiovascular disease and cancer and diabetes and dementia and A, B, and C. But vegan gains, listen, it is not because of the meat. This is the reality. Let me tell you the reality of the science of what the fuck you're talking about and what is the actual facts. In the recent few years, what has happened is that several research studies have pooled dozens and dozens of scientific research experiments and have written papers which are known as meta-studies or meta-analysis and published these. I'm gonna link all of these in the description below so you can read it instead of cherry picking the shit that you do. Now, what do these studies say about meat eating and the science behind it? It turns out that whatever ingredients are in meat that are hurting our health, increasing our bad cholesterol, those ingredients are only harmful if we have a high intake of carbohydrates, sugars, and a low intake of omega-3 fatty acids. That's the magic equation. If you're gonna eat saturated fat, we're gonna get into saturated fat very soon and dig down into saturated fat and cholesterol and get this fucking thing under control so you can understand what the reality is and not let vegan gains brainwash you. Now, let me repeat. If you eat meat, if you eat saturated fat, which is in meat, cholesterol, which is in meat, and you don't want it to increase the bad cholesterol, which is, again, we're gonna get into what is bad cholesterol very soon. If you don't want that to happen, then you have to stop eating carbohydrates and sugars with your meat. And you need to eat omega-3 fatty acids with your meat. If you eat that together, then there is no risk of cardiovascular disease. And it turns out that the healthy people out there, like Kinobody, like other people who do eat meat on a regular basis, they are eating omega-3 fatty acids. They are taking fish oil supplements so they can have enough omega-3s in their diet. They are not going crazy with carbs and sugars all the time. Okay? They're eating healthy. Now, let's dig a little deeper into what fats and cholesterol even is so you fucking asshole vegan gains can understand. Now, again, this video is very introductory. I'm just giving you my knowledge and my insights based on your comments below. I will make additional videos explaining the science and the health benefits of meat if it is of value to you. So whatever comments you write, I'm gonna read them and I'm gonna make more videos about it. Now, what Vegan Gains doesn't understand is that when he talks about saturated fat, when he talks about cholesterol, I wanna bitch slap him every single time. Let's go through each of these bitch slaps. Bitch slap number one is, when you talk about saturated fat, you have to be clear as to which saturated fat you're talking about. There are multiple types, at least 5 types of known saturated fats. Okay? Do you even know what saturated fats are? Do you understand? Okay, now when I say do you, I'm being condescending towards Vegan Gains, not you who's watching this video. Now, so confusing. Okay, now listen. There are multiple types of saturated fats, and the saturated fats that are actually increasing your bad cholesterol, the saturated fats that are associated with heart disease are not in meat. They're not in grass-fed butter. They're not in coconut oil. So the saturated fats that are in meat, in grass-fed butter, in dairy even, these saturated fats actually lower the risk factors of cardiovascular disease. They lower the risk factors of cancer. They lower the risk factors of dementia and type 2 diabetes. So meat and animal protein, be it from meat or eggs like egg yolks, and dairy, these are known to prevent these harms for health. Okay, so it is whatever Vegan Gains is telling you, it is actually the opposite that is true and what the science shows. Now, that is the case with saturated fat. Now let's move on to cholesterol. Same fucking thing. He keeps talking about cholesterol. Well, what cholesterol are you talking about? The saturated fats that are in meat and in animal products. Again, remember, I'm not talking about conventional meat. I'm not talking about the shitty meat that fat fuck from Alabama is eating. No, I'm talking about the meat that you can get at a grocery store for not expensive. You can go get ground beef from, let's say, Trader Joe's. There are other grocery stores, depending on what country you're living in. You can get grass-fed beef, which will have a very high profile of omega-3 fatty acids. What you want to do is have the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 be somewhere around 1.5 to 1. And that is exactly what you get in grass-fed beef. Now, conventional meat, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is 7.5 to 1. Okay, so that's like completely horrendous. So you don't want to eat conventional meat. So when you talk about conventional meat causing heart disease or cancer, it is not the fucking meat. It is how the meat is processed. It is the shit they're injecting into the animal. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about organic grass-fed meat. Okay, now remember that. Now let's move on to cholesterol. When Vegan Gains talks about cholesterol, he is not defining or being specific about cholesterol. Vegan Gains doesn't even know. I mean, look, I've seen all of his videos on meat just to prepare for this video, just so I can understand how stupid he is. He doesn't even understand that there are different types of cholesterol, and even within LDL, the low density lipoprotein, the actual protein that carries cholesterol in your body, even in LDL, there are two types of known particles. There are small dense particles and fluffy light particles. Think of the fluffy light particles. These are the good LDL carrier of cholesterol. This is like a beach ball, right? And then you have the LDL small dense particles. These are the bad LDLs. Think of those as like golf balls. Now, he doesn't differentiate between these two. What turns out is that meat and other animal products are improving the good type of LDL. They are increasing the good type of LDL, and they are improving and increasing the good type of cholesterol, which is HDL, the high density lipoprotein. Now, what is good and bad cholesterol? Even this he doesn't cover in his videos because he doesn't know, or he's trying to hide it from you. I don't know which one it is. Either he's a fucking moron dumbass, or he's hiding it from you for whatever unknown reason. Now, HDL and LDL, the reason they are known as good or bad cholesterol, either of them could be good or bad. The thing that differentiates an HDL or LDL molecule, this lipoprotein, from either it's good or bad is whether it's oxidized. Okay? Oxidization, okay, or oxidation, this is when an oxygen particle, an oxygen atom, binds to whatever it is oxidizing. That is known as a free radical, right? So oxygen is a free radical. It binds and it causes oxidative stress and inflammation. And inflammation is the biggest thing that is linked to things like obesity and diabetes and cancer. And of course, cardiovascular disease or heart disease, which is the biggest cause of death in the United States today. So it's inflammation that does it. And this inflammation is either reduced by fats or it's enhanced by fats. So the fats that reduce this inflammation are, for example, omega-3 fatty acids, which are in grass-fed beef. It is in animal protein. And omega-6 fatty acids, which are in things like partially hydrogenated oil, like if you're drinking soybean oil or corn oil, it is in all that bullshit. All the shit like margarine, you want to stay away from that. That is going to cause inflammation and it is going to damage your cells through oxidative stress. So that free particle, that free oxygen that is bound, and that oxidation is what differentiates between good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Okay? So keep that in mind and remember that when you are reading the papers that I'm citing in the description, when they talk about cholesterol and saturated fat. So that is what I wanted to cover in a nutshell. So what are some takeaways? Don't trust Vegan Gains. He is a con artist. He is cherry picking studies. He is leading people wrong. Do not have a low fat diet. Many studies, I'm going to quote all of these studies in the description below, have found that high fat, low carb diets can reverse disease that is caused by low fat, high carb diets. So guys, stay away from the sugar. Sugar is the thing that is causing inflammation and oxidation in your body. It is the carbs, it is the sugar, it is not the fat. The fat is actually helping and improving your health. Okay, so keep that in mind. We also took away the different types of fats. Okay, you already know monounsaturated fats, which are in avocados and olive oil. So you want to eat these in your salads. Make sure you do that. We talked about saturated fats, the different types of saturated fats. The ones that are in grass-fed butter, the ones that are in animal meat, you want to eat those. They're going to reduce inflammation. They're going to alleviate your diabetes or any kind of disease that you have. It's going to actually reverse those, and it's going to aid in fat loss and weight loss in general. We talked about cholesterol, saturated fat that is in meat, and that kind of dairy and animal products that are raised in a humane way in terms of they're not overfed, they're raised through eating grass, and they're able to free range in the farm. Those are not gonna harm you because they're gonna increase the good cholesterol in your body. They're not going to impact the low cholesterol. Now, the other thing that I forgot to mention, this is something that Vegan Gains is another imbecilic, moronic thing on. The saturated fat that we eat doesn't impact the saturated fat that is in our blood. Okay? Now, it's counterintuitive. Remember that. The saturated fat that you're eating from meat, for example, or other products, that is not going to correlate with the saturated fat that is, for example, clogging your arteries or causing plaques in your body. The saturated fat you eat doesn't do that. You know what does that? The carbs that you eat. The liver is going to produce these toxins because of the carbs you're eating. So the bad saturated fats that the liver makes is through the carbs that you're eating, not through the fats. The fats are actually gonna make you thin, they're gonna make you lose your belly, and they're gonna give you optimal health. Try to have at least 50% fats in your diet, and you will live a very healthy and optimal life. Now, so I wanted to make this video for you guys, provide value. Again, comment below what other knowledge can I provide in terms of the reality of meat eating, the reality of saturated fat, the reality of cholesterol, and just knock this fucking thing in reality. Like, what is the reality? Because reading all those thousands of papers and books is not easy. And what Vegan Gains is doing, he's cherry picking studies to support his own claim, contradicting himself all the time. And guys, one more thing I want to say before I end here. I can see that a lot of guys who are watching watching Vegan Gains videos, see, I know he's entertaining, I know he's kind of like controversial, so you kind of like get addicted and attached to his videos. But remember, you are the product of the 5 people that you hang out with, the product of the 5 people that you watch on social media. If you keep watching this fucker, then you might become an asshole like him. You might become negative like him. You might become just insecure prick like him. You don't want to do that, okay? Try to have your role models, even in the vegan community. The vegan community is fucking amazing. I adore you guys. Like, you guys are amazing people in terms of caring about animal cruelty, caring about sustainability. I love that. But don't have some asshole like Vegan Gains as your leader, okay? Don't have these, even friends of Vegan Gains, other guys that are saying things against meat eating and just like talking bullshit science, even though they have no practical training, no training at all in anything that has to do with science. They're pretending and doing all this bro science shit. Please, I beg you, don't listen to them. Don't let them influence your life and your vibe in life. We want everyone to be positive. We want everyone to have a great outlook on life and live healthy and prosper and have good friends, good relatives, good family members, good vibes. Just be around people and make everyone who is around you better and better versions of themselves. So that's the video, guys. Again, any value I can provide, feel free to comment. That's what I have for you. Is meat bad for you? Kinobody versus Vegan Gains. Love you. This is Doc Testosterone, and I will see you in the next video.